Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 and you use the promo code presented by Prize Picks. Welcome, one and all to Light Years. Tommy, the NBA season is officially over. Congratulations to the Oklahoma State Thunder. I'm not going to be a sore loser or whatever you want to say. Champions are champions.
I kind of want to be a sore loser. Like I had Pacers in 7. The better team won is what we're going to come back to. Like, the Thunder were the best team all year, and they deserve to win the championship. Like, Presti built a really good roster. Now, like, all the hype about Presti, he finally gets paid off. And in that term, like, I feel good for him.
Yeah. And we're going to get into off-season stuff for majority of this pod. I just want to do a couple minutes on the game 7 there. Haliburton getting hurt.
Yeah.
One of the shittiest things I've seen as from a sports perspective, not involving my team,
Yeah, I mean, it's not, nothing will ever feel like the Kevin Durant in Toronto type of thing, but like,
well, that's our team,
Yeah,
so
exactly. But like, nothing will ever feel like that. But it felt like the Pacers really did have a chance to win that game. Like, they were so competitive through the first half, and then they had no juice when Hallie went out. And yeah,
I wanted to believe in TJ. It was the Friday Night Lights Matt Saracen moment.
That is the best comparison I've ever heard. Matt Saracen. Wow.
But
that's perfect.
TJ's awesome. They fought. They just, it sucks. I think it sucks on multiple levels because Haliburton pretty much represents everything I love about basketball. You know what I mean? Like, It's not just the flair and the style. It's being a great teammate, lifting up everyone about him, having that, like, that thing you cannot quantify in a combine or a spreadsheet, not to go down that road again, although everyone who listens to this knows exactly what I'm talking about. But it's like some guys just have the it factor that makes everyone else go, we've watched it for 15 years with Steph Curry.
Yep.
And they're different players. I'm not saying he's Steph, but it's like certain players just have it. Jokic has it, Steph obviously has it. Tyrese had it, and I will go to my grave believing they would have won Game 7 if that didn't happen.
I do agree with that, and like, he really is the heir apparent to Reggie in a lot of ways. Not like a similar type of player necessarily, but just like, he's corny as shit. But at the same time, everybody believes in him. Yeah, he's a dork. But like, so was Reggie, and everybody believed in Reggie. Like, that's why in game 1 of the ECF, when he did the choke sign, like, and looked at Reggie, he was like, that's so cool, because they're the same person. You know what I mean? Like, It was awesome. And it just sucks that, like, they didn't get to pay off that. It was a magical run. I think Breen said that right at the end of the game. Like, it was a magical run to the finals, and they didn't get to pay it off with a championship because they probably won't get back there. Like, if I was going to bet on one of the two teams to get back to the finals, I would bet on OKC over Indiana. But they had a run that, like, even though they lost, we will all remember that for honestly the rest of our lives. It was an incredible NBA finals. Incredible playoffs.
It felt like a March Madness run. Like, I don't actually recall those type of runs happening in the pros on a consistent basis. Like, you remember upsets in the pros. Like, I can't believe the We Believe Warriors. They, 8 seed beating the 1. I can't think of many runs where it's like, I did not have this team pegged to get all the way to the finals.
I mean, I took them in round 1 against Milwaukee, and then I just kept looking at the matchups. The Cavs was like iffy, but I knew they were going to beat the Knicks,
Sure.
But at the same time, it would have been, a lot of people picked Milwaukee in round 1, and they end up in the NBA finals. They're just, the way that they play, it like gives me life for who the Warriors can be next year. You know what I mean? Because it's like, they can build a very similar team to that and get to the finals, because it doesn't have to be based on like straight up talent. It can just be based on like effort and smarts and all the things that Indiana did for the entire playoffs.
Well, it's like everything you like about basketball. It's like, you do need a star. You do need that guy who makes the whole thing go. But then it's just about like getting guys who do specific things and buy into their role. And if they truly come together, they're better collectively than the sum of their parts. And that was the pace to me. Like I love Siakam. A big fan of Nemhart, Miles Turner. Oh, they have 9 guys. So I'm like, I'd like that guy on my team. But it was the collective of them coming together, everyone knowing their roles, no ego, no one caring about like whose night it was. Honestly, Obi Toppin outplayed Miles Turner the entire finals here. And that doesn't mean he's been a better player than him all year, because he is not. But this was a Obi Toppin series, more so than it was a Miles Turner series. But there was just that kind of the collective, we're going to go with what's working, and we're all bought into each other. It's beautiful to watch, and it sucks because, like, to your point, I would have actually argued with you and said I think they can get back, but Jordan's not going to play next year, period. How late this injury is, there's no like, oh, he's come back to the All-Star break. It's like, nah, it's gone.
It's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing as Tatum. Like there's no, if you do your Achilles, and that was we've been through that, like literally the same exact thing. Like a guy who had a calf injury and then he goes down, and you're like, oh, I know exactly what that is. And it sucks to see like everything get wiped away in that one moment, because he was obviously just like, and he was playing so well, like a couple threes in the first quarter, and then it just
he had the juice going. You could see he's like, I got one game in me. It's game 7. I'm leaving it all on the floor. Just to throw it out there, because it's always a thing on social when these things happen. Did you have a problem with him playing?
No, of course not. Like I remember, like, when I was playing in college, I separated my shoulder midway through my sophomore year, and it was impossible for me to get it up above my head for a little bit. But there was no chance I wasn't playing. Like as an athlete, you are always going to reach into the bag as deep as you can, and that's what Hallie did, and like that's why I can respect it so much. But at the same time, like, it's such a push and pull, because like the medical staff didn't want him to play, probably, but he wanted to. So like, what are you supposed to say to a guy in game 7 of the NBA Finals?
It's game 7. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, if this is game 4 of the second round, then we can have a conversation about the Pacers medical staff. This is like, you played the entire season for this moment, which is what makes it suck so much more.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's just shitty, man. Like there's no other way to contextualize it. Like I said, we went through the same thing with KD, and then the Clay thing as well. So like, you can't, you want to like put words to it, but you really can't at the end of the day, because you see everything happen so quickly, and it all goes away in an instant.
Yeah, it's just it's just bittersweet. It's not even the right word. Like, it's just cruel. It's just cruel that like it had to end like this, and like the Thunder could have very well just beaten them if he stayed healthy the entire game.
Totally
would not have thought anything, but it's just cruel that to go down that way. Anyway, does this mean the Pacers are going to blow it up and we could trade for any number of their players? I don't know what the transition is right there. No.
But no, I mean, dude, I'd take Toppin, I'd take Nemhard, I'd take Miles Turner. Like they have, I mean, they really are the East Coast Warriors in so many ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do next year. Like, I guess you kind of have to, like, they can't tank, because they have too many good players.
They might not be able to tank in the East. Yeah. I feel like they could run this lineup with TJ at point guard and get the 4 seed.
Oh, I wouldn't say top 4, but I'd say top 6. Like, I would not expect them to be in the play-in. And we have to give a shout out to Rick Carlisle, like one of the best coaches of all time, the oldest coach to ever coach in the NBA Finals. And I as much as I wanted like the Pacers to win, I wanted Carlisle to win, because like he deserves that shine. Like the adjustments he made over the course of the series, the way that like they guarded Shea in game 6, like everything they were not on the same level talent wise, but he got them to a game 7. And obviously everybody on the team did too. Like all the players did, but he's an incredible coach. And I feel like this was like, if they would have won the finals, obviously, like it would have really solidified his career. But even in general, just getting to the game 7, he He's awesome, man. Like he's one of the very few coaches that I would consider taking over Kerr.
He's on the short list for sure.
Yeah.
They're an excellent team. And now we enter the offseason. Like that's really when I go on this. And we already got trade today, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes. The Kevin Durant to the Rockets trade. But between everyone knows Boston wants to shake it up because next year is going to be a gap year, or just like I don't know where they really want to come out of this with the second apron hell and Tatum's injury. Yeah. Now you got to throw the Pacers in that mix too.
Yep. I
don't really like. We'll probably get more insight into what the Pacers management's thinking in a couple days. I think right now everyone in that organization is just like, this fucking sucks, you know?
Yep.
But they're going to have to come around. I mean, the draft is on Wednesday. This thing's rolling around really quick. And, you know, we spent like a month talking about the Warriors. It's here now. It's here. Yeah. It's here. And I went from confident Kuminga was going to be moved to thinking he's going to stay to now I'm somewhere in the middle. And like, I don't know about you. I genuinely don't know how this is going to play out in terms of free agency overall. It does feel like because no one has cap space and everything is kind of a second apron sign and trade scenario. Like it's very hard to predict.
Yeah. I literally think that's the perfect way to put it. Like obviously during the playoffs, we all thought Kuminga was gone. I don't think anybody thought he would be back on the team. And then it shifted the other way. And we're like, all right, he's definitely going to be back. And now it's like, you know, we're hearing stuff like maybe he's to Miami or Chicago or all these other places. But at the same time, it's like, do they really want him? Like, I don't think Pat Riley loves Jonathan Kuminga. You know what I mean? Like he sees the talent, but at the same time, I don't think that's like really his type of guy because Pat is a very big like feel guy. Like Pat Riley wants a guy who has feel. And for all of Kuminga's great traits, because he does have a lot of them, he doesn't have like the feel aspect that a Pat Riley type would gravitate towards.
Yeah, but then at the same time, you're like, okay, he's not going to go for him. Is he going to run it back with the same group, with no cap space, with no bit? Like what can they do if they're going to go out there and get Kelly Oubre on a TPMLE? Please and then just slot that in there with like Wiggins and Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier and Bam Adebayo. Like, no, like they're and this isn't a Heat thing, but it's just like it feels like every team is going through these conversations of who's available, what are our actual options, and then it's like a Wild West is really the way I would put it.
I mean, like you said, the apron stuff. It really is. It's throwing a wrench into everything that's happening. Like Brooklyn is basically the only team with cap space to make anything happen. So it's going to be, you know, a month ago, Shams said it's going to be one of the most interesting off seasons ever. And I didn't believe it at the time, but now that I'm like,
it felt like a sell.
Yeah.
Sure.
It felt like a sell. Absolutely. Because he's like selling, you know, what he does.
And make sure to tune in.
Yeah.
NBA today. Yeah,
exactly. But now it kind of feels like it will be because nobody can acquire players without making trades. That's kind of what it comes down to. Like the only way you can acquire a guy is by making some type of trade because nobody has any cap space. So I don't know, man. I'm so excited. Like I feel like the draft night is going to be one of the craziest drafts we've ever seen. Not because the guys that are being picked, just because of like the amount of movement that's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like the Warriors aren't even in the first round, but the first round is going to be very watchable because who knows if there's a trade involving a first rounder where the Warriors are going to get into it. Like the whole thing is all over the place. It's going to be exciting. Like this, it used to be July 1st was like tune-in day, but in my opinion, June 22nd, 23rd until let's call it the 4th of July, that's the new free agency window. Yeah. I think we'll know where the Warriors are sitting before the 4th of July, for better or worse. Even if acquisitions are not completed, we'll have a better idea the next 10 days. Than in the past, it was more of July 1st free agency starts. And, you know, we're sitting here on the 6th, 7th, like, are they going to get him? That sort of thing. It seems like everything is moving quicker because of all these factors, second apron, everything. And so that makes it all very exciting. Another thing that
are you nervous? Like I feel kind of nervous for like what's upcoming because like it feels like so many things are going to get decided in these next 10 days.
not yet, but undoubtedly I will text you and Andy in the next 48 hours or get on a pod in the next 48 hours and my mood will shift. So like if you're asking me right now, I'm feeling, I don't want to say calm, but calm. I am feeling calm right now.
Cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic for sure. For all I know, I'm going to get off of this and get a notification on my phone and my mood will change. But as of right now, I'm feeling reasonably good because this is the other thing I didn't even ask you about. Like, for as good as OKC is, and they are good, and they will be good next year, I don't feel like the Warriors are that far off. I genuinely don't. I think they're older. I think they need to preserve guys healthy. But if you get me Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond in a series against the Thunder with the right role pieces, I like my chances. I really do. They don't feel that scary to me. Like I think the Pacers would beat them. I think Denver also beats them if Denver has one more reliable role player.
If Aaron Gordon doesn't pull his hamstring in Game 6 right at the end. But the most dominant team of all time got taken to 7 by a 5.5 team twice by a 5.5 man team of Denver, and then a Pacers team who, like we've talked about, they are so connected, but definitely not the most talented team. And in the way that the Pacers play style gave OKC a good amount of problems, I think the Warriors would have done the same thing. I really do. And it's just, I don't know if I'll ever get over Steph pulling his hamstring in these year's playoffs because it was like we talked about this probably a month ago. Like we've never had a season end with like an actual Steph injury in the playoffs. Like obviously the MCL in 2016, like that's happened before, but it wasn't like he's sitting on the bench and he's helpless. And it was almost surreal that it went down like that. But I really do think, I don't know if we would have beat the Thunder, but I do think we would have given them a very, very, very competitive series, way more than the Wolves did.
Yeah. And that's why they need to have a good offseason. Speaking of taking care of yourself, guys, go get a DEXA scan from our friends at BodySpec. So people ask me, what's a DEXA scan? DEXA scan is a highly accurate way and a detailed look at your body's composition. Lean muscle mass, obviously body fat percentage. That's like the famous one everyone's curious about. Bone density, visceral body fat, the fat around your organs. A DEXA scan tells you all the things that are really going on in your body that don't show when you just stand on the scale. And it says like, oh, you weigh 198 pounds or you weigh 202 pounds. This actually lets you know what's going on in your body. And what our friends at BodySpec have done is not only made it affordable for everyone, but made it super efficient for everyone. So with the code LightYears45, you can get a DEXA scan for $45. Newsflash, those bad boys cost $200, $300, $400. And then locations on the Embarcadero, in the Marina, in LA, and mobile vans that will come to you. It's the easiest way to get a scan. They'll literally 15 minutes, get it done, email you results, start your fitness journey. Guys, it's BodySpec.com. Code LightYears45. Get a DEXA scan, start your fitness journey.
Light Years Podcast. We are brought to you by Lucy. Lucy are 100% nicotine pouches, and they're always tobacco free. Set yourself up with a subscription and have Lucy delivered straight to your door. My personal favorite, the wintergreen. I do the 12 milligrams. If you've never done nicotine before, definitely don't do the 12 milligrams. They will go with 4. Go with 4 milligrams. So let's level up our nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/lightyears.
It's like shooting. You start checking threes. You gotta make your free throws first. Then you take 100%. A step back. 100%. Work on the minute. Yeah.
Yep. Go to lucy.co/lightyears and use promo code lightyears to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co. Use code lightyears for 20% off. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. The product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Our friend KD got traded again.
Yeah.
two thoughts on this. So he gets traded to Houston. Everyone listening to this is aware of it. Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and the number 10 pick. Oh, sorry, 5 second-round picks. We love seconds.
5 second-round picks is the same for Wiseman for GP2. So
that's true. That's true. So I have 2 questions for you. We'll start with the first one, which is, are you surprised it was this light of a package? KD.
I think a little bit, but also like the Suns had no leverage. Like they didn't have anything to work with because everybody knew KD wanted to be moved. And the Rockets did get better, but at the same time, they have like absolutely no shooting outside of KD now. Like, I guess obviously Fred VanVleet got super hot against the Warriors again, as he always does.
Smith.
Yeah, I mean he could shoot the ball. Like he's the poorest man's KD, but they're better. But at the same time, Dylan Brooks, as much as I hate the guy, because he's one of the most annoying players in the history of the NBA, he did shoot 8 threes a game and made 40% last year, and they traded him. So they are going to be better.
More important to their defense than he gets credit for. I know Amen gets all the credit, and he should. He's a freak. But Dylan Brooks was the one he's doing the Draymond thing. It's not fancy. It's, I'll guard the other team's best, like bigger player. I'm going to be dirty on them. I'm going to tell everyone where to go. I'm going to be the defensive leader. Now you're trading him for a guy who's an offensive player at Spirit. It's not that KD can't defend. I can't see KD going down on every possession, telling everyone where to be at all times. Like, it's not who he is. It's a player.
KD just wants to hoop, man. He just wants to hoop. That's what he always tells everybody. And then he's somewhere for 2 years, and he no longer wants to hoop. He wants to go somewhere else.
My second question for you is, where do you slot Houston in after this? Are they scared of you now? Are they an actual contender out of the West?
No. Absolutely not. KD, he is one of the most talented basketball players of all time. And we all know that. But at the same time, he is not ever going to lead anybody anywhere. That will always be my feeling on him. There's a reason the only 2 championships he's won are with the Warriors. Like, he cannot, look at everything that happened after he left Golden State. It always blows up in the same exact way. And I'm supposed to believe he's going to a young Rockets team now, and he's going to lead them to the fucking promised land. There's no chance. There's no chance.
I also think you're forgetting the more obvious part, which is he's 37 years old. Yeah. He's about to have 4 starters next to him who are 23. Just from a personal, you're not 37. Do you want to hang out with a bunch of college-age kids? College-age men. Sorry.
It's a loaded question, but no, definitely not. And
if you are a person who can be salty, is being surrounded by people who are much younger than you, kind of being annoying in a young person way. Like, I don't know. I just feel like part of the Rockets being as good as they were last year was collectively they were better because they bought into each other.
It was the energy.
Yeah.
It was the energy.
Yeah.
And I just don't. KD isn't a leader of men. He isn't. I hate talking shit about KD, but he's just.
You best get DM, bro.
Yeah, he's not that guy, man. He's not that guy. As much as I love the talent and love when KD is cooking, there are few things like watching him just going 15 for 19 from the field and scoring 37 points in the most efficient way possible. But it feels like KD's always playing his own game outside of the basketball game. He's a tennis player within the basketball game. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's just him. And I don't think that really helps the Rockets as much as them trading for somebody else.
What I was going to say is it strikes me as do you remember when he came up and people started being like, this is the future of basketball. It's going to be a bunch of 6'10", 6'11 guys who can handle. And Yeah, it turns out that's an anomaly because it's not that easy.
He's the only one. Like we watched Chet
usually
playoffs. You know, like everybody wants Chet.
Chet's awesome, by the way.
He's awesome. I love Chet. Like one of the best rim protectors in the league. So smart, good passer. His shots kind of falling apart, but like everybody's like, oh yeah, he's the next KD. Nobody's the next KD. Like people want Wemby to be the next KD. He doesn't handle like that. He doesn't move like that. But at the end of the day, you have to be the guy who can like kind of put people on your back. And KD he never has been. He never has been. Like we've seen it too many times to believe differently at this point.
Yeah, yeah. And so from a Warriors perspective, let me take this home. The rumor was Miami was in the mix, and it comes out Miami was not willing to put basically anything on the table. I mean, you look at the package that got it done. Clearly, no one was putting a bunch of stuff on the table for him. And I wonder if that puts Miami back firmly in the Kuminga mix. I know you said he's not a Pat Riley guy, but and I don't know that Kuminga's game moved, but part of the conversation has to start with like who would actually want him. And Miami's consistently been linked to him since before the Jimmy Butler acquisition.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because they're a team who doesn't want to bottom out. Like they don't want to do the 15 and 67 year. They don't want to do the 20 win season to get a Cooper flag or that type of thing. So they need to be opportunistic about talent. And whatever you think of Jonathan, he's very talented. And if you're willing to give him space because you don't have Steph Curry and a few other things, like it's a better gamble than Hayward Highsmith, you know?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. But I'd just be interested in like the packages that's coming back. Like I do like some of Miami's guys. Like obviously the Wiggins thing, like wouldn't be my favorite acquisition to get Wiggins back in a Kuminga deal, but like I would take it. Like we know it works. Love Hawkes. Like he's a very much Kerr player. Like the way the guy plays. So I mean, super tough, undersized, big, smart. He could pass out of a split cut immediately. Like there is no question about that. And he has enough of a scoring bag to like not just be a passer out of those situations. So like there are some interesting things we could get back from Miami, but it's definitely not my favorite trade partner.
The other one that's been discussed in our guy, Jake Fisher and Mark Stein, my guys.
Yeah.
I'm pulling it up right now. Just me stalling. Mentioning that Chicago's had ongoing interest in Kuminga. For those of you who have not had lobotomies, this has also been mentioned over the course of the years. You know, last year with Caruso, they wanted Kuminga for him, but the Warriors were like, that's too steep a price.
The Warriors are Joe. The Warriors are Joe.
Well, it doesn't really matter, right? Yeah. I mean, you're right. I have a very strong suspicion who in the Warriors nixed that trade, but the point is they made a decision not to make that trade. Mm-hmm. And Chicago also strikes me as another team who's probably willing to take a gamble because they also don't want to bottom out, but they need to find ways to find talents more than, the 12th pick in the draft every year.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, if it's Kobe White, I'm in. Like I have been in since the rumors came up. Like that guy can score the shit out of the basketball. And we've talked about this, but I don't want to watch a Warriors team anymore where they can't score, especially when Steph is out. But just in general, like give me somebody who can put the ball in the bucket, and Kobe can do that. So if that's the move, and it's Kuminga sign and trade for Kobe, 100% in. There's other things to address. Need more size. I don't know if Kobe's going to close playoff games. I don't know what the compensation would be, but at the same time, like that guy can go out and score 30 any night. Doesn't mean he's going to average 30, but he'll average 19 to 21 a game. And he can score at will.
There's a lot of different ways to address it, but they do need to find a scorer that allows Steph to not have to go out there looking for 30, 60 plus nights a year.
Yep.
And they could do it the Jordan Poole route like they did in 2022. And Kobe White would be a great example of that.
It's the same thing.
Or they could do it like Naz Reid's been floated, and I'm not necessarily buying it, but like you can do it through, we're just going to get a couple more offensively talented players. So when Steph sits, we can maybe run the offense through Jimmy and Naz and something like that. Like there's different ways to do it, but we're getting back to the same point. They need more offense that allows Steph to be a decoy or outright to sit in games in the regular season more often.
I mean, what about your guy, Bobby?
So I would take Bobby Portis. He's he's closer to Mo Spates than like the
he's 5% better than Mo Spates.
Mo Spates was good.
He was. I don't disagree.
Sober Mo Spates was good. So I think Bobby, I think you underrate what Bobby Portis could do. I think on the Warriors, Bobby Portis averages over 15 points per game in like 25 minutes.
It's not about the scoring with Bobby for me. Like he could definitely score the basketball. It's the defense. I've seen that guy play defense, and I have a couple buddies who are Bucks fans. They hate him. Like they absolutely hate him because he can't guard his lunch. Like he can't guard anybody.
So that's what Draymond's paid for.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, yeah, if we're paying him for something, it's definitely that.
Yeah, he's an imperfect fit. Like, I'm not going to pretend he's a perfect fit, but it's like, first off, I need a player on this roster who plays the 4 or the 5 who can put the ball in the basket.
Yes.
And I would like it to be a guy who can defend too, but the guys who can do both those things tend to be very hard to acquire. So I will just settle for someone who can put the ball in the basket and who gives a shit and competes hard. I'll settle for scoring plus dog.
Bobby will do that. Like he is a dog.
That might be the peak. That might be the most I get out of him, but I'll settle for that.
Yeah, we talked about this with Ant last time. Like, no more bitches on the team. Like, give me dogs. Like, I need guys who are dogs on the team, and Bobby is definitely that. I would like out of everything, out of my objections to who he is as a player, he is definitely that. Like, he will punch somebody in practice. So, you know,
maybe we need another guy who can punch someone in practice.
Yeah, I would. I mean, honestly, if we do acquire Bobby, I would love to hear that him and Draymond got in a fight during training camp. That would fire me up. I'd be like, all right, these guys want to win a championship.
I think the other thing is so Steph is Steph. We know how Steph wants to play. He wants to play with high IQ guys who are looking for him as he's constantly in motion. And I like that. I don't have a problem with that. I've made, we've all gone through our phases of why don't they run a more traditional offense? And at the end of the day, you just come back to the same point of, yeah, I'd love to get like players who could do everything. But if it comes down to one or the other, I'm going to go with what's worked. So, But I will say my one criticism of the Warriors has been now they tend to over-index guys who don't want to shoot the ball with IQ. Pods.
The scales have tipped both ways. Like at first it was Wiseman and Kuminga and like.
Well, they tried to fix it with that, and they made all the wrong choices.
Yep.
So then they went the other way. And in general, the other way is better, but honestly, you can't tell me Bobby Portis doesn't look better than he would look on any other team in the NBA if you put him next to Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Podziemski. 3 guys who are always looking to make an extra pass first. 3 guys whose probably innate basketball skill is their ability to read the floor. And and 3 guys who I don't think they'd love to hear it, but like they probably overthink it on the floor too.
No, 100%. And if I would trust anybody to pull like good defensive identity out of Bobby Portis, it would be Draymond Green. Like it's in a way, it's kind of similar to like, and the Boogie Cousins thing didn't work out, but it was because of injury. But like personality wise, I think Boogie and Bobby are like very similar, and I think Draymond and Bobby would actually get along so well. And that's for Dre, that's so important. That he respects the other guy. Doesn't mean they're like a great player, but if Draymond respects you, he'll work with you and he'll try to make you as valuable as you can possibly be. And Bobby would be that. I do agree with that.
And so he's not my first option for this role. Like Naz Reid is probably my first option for this role. Porzingis, if someone can tell me that the health is good, is a better option, but I don't necessarily buy it.
I'm out.
Like there's a Obi Toppin literally played this role for the Pacers, and you saw how valuable it was for them. But if Bobby is literally just a Moses Moody, could do worse. He could do worse.
Yeah, and at least he's 6'10". At least he's not 6'4".
No, he rebounds his position. Like he plays his size. He rebounds his position. He can hit open shots. It's to your point. He does a lot of dumb shit. So it is a lot of like, don't like. He is kind of just a sixth man, is what he is, right? So
yeah, and that would have to be the, I guess, the impetus or like the understanding if they did acquire him. He's not going to be our starter, and he might finish some games, but he's definitely not going to finish every game. There would have to be other things that happen on the roster, whether it's a Melton or whoever, somebody else to finish games, but he can absolutely be a helpful piece. I'm not doubting that. He really is. He's like a ramped up version of Mo Spates. He is better than that for sure, but at the same time, I cannot get enthused by Bobby Portis.
I don't blame you for like, if the summer ends and it's Bobby Portis and like
D'Anthony Melton.
Yeah, it's like cool,
Awesome.
I was expecting a little more.
Great
but
job,
I do
Mike.
like. I will say, I do love the fact that Steve Kerr loves Bobby Portis. That means something to me. I think this playoffs has shown me, and this sounds kind of softy-ish, but like, fuck it. Chemistry matters. Like having continuity. I'm willing to go down with the Steve Kerr, Steph Curry ship. I'd rather them try to lean into that than try to reinvent themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like they tried to reinvent themselves for a while. It didn't work. There's only a couple more years of this left anyway. You might as well just lean into it.
And
we can figure out reinventing ourselves after that.
It's so funny. You and Andy were both anti-Steve guys for a little bit. Like when I met you guys, not like not super anti, but like you were questioning who he was and like his philosophy and all that stuff. But now it's like he's ended up being right so many times. Even when you doubt him, you're like, oh, he's an idiot. But he ends up being right on almost every single player. And maybe he's wrong on Kuminga. Like that is, I think it's the most realistic chance that he's actually wrong on a player is Kuminga. But Wiseman and everybody that's come through the Warriors.
To be fair, I've always supported his Wiseman takes. But
I mean, shoot, I was on the forefront of that.
But even to your point, even if he's wrong on Kuminga, it doesn't matter anymore. It just it doesn't matter because Steph will. I think Steph would demand a trade if Steve got fired. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's that level of
he would be gone. Absolutely. Like they are tied at the hip at this point, and it's for better or for worse. That's what it is. And if we look at like all the real dynasties over the last 30, 40 years, they run a system like the Warriors do. You have the 90s Bulls.
And
you have the 2000 Lakers.
It tends to be married to your best player, over time, like everything you do is built around that guy's like idiosyncrasies and the little things that make him better. So yeah, I mean, we're there with the Warriors. It's like end of the day, like, sure, would I like to see them try some new, like, avant-garde shit and try something different? Sure, of course, like that sounds great, but it's like Steph's at the end of his career. He's undoubtedly the greatest Warrior of all time. He wants to play a specific way for a specific coach, and it works. It still works if you find the right pieces. So yeah, it's like pretty much when they won in 2022, I slowly like kind of got to the mental space of it's what they want to do. They've earned the right. Yeah. They've given me more joy than I could ever imagine. And it works. And no one's presented me a better idea. No one's actually presented me a better idea with this team. So fuck it. Let's just ride. Let's just do it.
Yeah. And we should probably take a break and pay some bills. But I want to talk about this on the other side. Like, I do want to talk about Steph, like going into next season and like what we think he can be. Cause I do think that's, we're talking about all these moves that the team has to make. But at the same time, if Steph isn't still Steph, none of it really matters. So I think it's a very interesting topic. But we should pay a bill. Light Years Podcast. We are brought to you by Factor. When was the last time you had a meal that was both healthy and delicious? It made you feel good, right? Have you ever had the same feeling when taking a supplement? Well, now with Factor Form, you can. Most of us dread drinking greens, but Factor Form has changed the game. You'll actually crave your greens. As the sister brand of Factor Meals, Factor Form was designed hand in hand with your meals, making better nutrition effortless. Daily Greens by Form Factor is made from real vegetables, packed with whole servings of kale and spinach without tasting like it. In a blind taste test, Daily Greens ranked number 1 in taste, texture, and aroma, beating out the biggest names in the industry. So start with your Daily Greens today by Form Factor at factor75.com or .com/lightyears to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. That's factor75.com/lightyears for 40% off plus free shipping. Factor75.com/lightyears.
I have been having them for the last week.
It's amazing, dude. It's so good.
Been very regular. It's great.
I mean, it's better than the smoothies that I'm making for the most part.
Yeah. I've given up on the smoothie life. It's
it's
too much work cleaning it. Just simply cannot get you behind that. Okay, you were talking about Steph.
Mm-hmm.
Floor's yours.
I think the way that I want to set this up is he was 37 during these playoffs. And, I think a lot of the wear and tear that we saw, and especially like the hamstring injury, like it had to do with like how hard they went in the first round, but also like he did play in the Olympics last summer. He's getting 3 or 4 months off. And I genuinely think it's incredible how good the guy still is. And we have talked about this like in the Tom Brady way, where it's like nobody thought Tom Brady was going to be as good as he was for as long as he was. He was still the best quarterback in the NFL too. He's probably 41, 42. And like Mahomes was obviously right there too. But I really don't see an end with Steph. And Dell talked about it the other day. Yeah, somebody asked Dell Curry, Steph's dad, about, when do you think he's going to retire? And Dell said, I don't even think we're close to that. And it just has me wondering, how long can this go on? Because he is, I saw some 2017 playoff highlights on Twitter today from Steph, and I was like, he is 50% slower, and it doesn't seem to matter. The shot making and the smarts and everything else has just improved so much that I literally think he can do this for the next 3 or 4 years. And I think you're there with me, but it's, I don't know. Like, I feel like if Jimmy is able to stay like good enough, be a top 30 player in the NBA, and Draymond doesn't retire, they really have a chance to win at least one more championship within the next 3 to 4 years.
So part of the reason the Pacers are so refreshing and like endearing to me is I see a lot of the late Steph path through them.
Yeah.
And I would say the late Tim Duncan Spurs are the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Warriors need to get more stars. They just need to get more good. And if you give a balanced team, a team that has a bunch of guys who average 12 to 15 points, but can stick shots, know how to play together, and on any given night, it's your night. You have a Nembhard, you have a Nesmith, you have a Obi Toppin,
all those guys. A Boris Diaw, a Tiago Splitter,
a Bobby Portis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, put players around him who are bought in, who understand their system and have enough skill to hit a shot when it's their night.
Mm-hmm.
I see no reason you can't win around Steph when he's 42.
Yep.
Because he creates, his shooting's never going away. What's gone away is the little quick twitch stuff he did when he was like 26, 27,
Sure.
Now it's more of in motion, and I'm going to drag 2 players, and then it's a matter of if everyone around me is smart enough and skilled enough to take advantage of the fact that someone's wide open right now. And so that's kind of where I'm at with him, and that's kind of where I'm at with the Warriors, and why I think this offseason is important. And I'd love them to go get like a fancy player, but to me, it's like, can you get a better shooting guard? Can you get a player who is what you were hoping Moses Moody would be? Like, can you get a 3-and-D guy who can actually hit shots? Can you get a stretch big who's not soft like Quentin Post? Can you get a guy who can hit shots and then create a little here and there like a Nemhart? Like, can you add all these little pieces and have this 8 to 9 man rotation? Because I really think we're entering an era of the NBA where like the big three no longer works, and it's more about creating a great team. And I think Steph still creates more advantages, and he's still a bigger freak than anyone you go up against. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. And all this comes back to why they need Bobby Portis.
I think what's, I guess, so special about Steph is the fact that me and my little brother always talk about this. And I keep wondering when people are going to stop guarding him like they guard him. You know what I mean? Like, he still gets chased everywhere by everybody. And it's like, he still is that good, but I've just never seen anything like it in the history of basketball.
Why would you stop though? Like,
right. Like, I guess there is no other antidote, like, and as long as he can do that, as long as he can pull defenses like that, you can, like, to your point, you can build a team around him. Like, even if it's only 18 points a game or 22 points a game, whatever it is. And as long as he can reach the ceiling in the playoffs of scoring 26 in the most important game or the 34 in the most important game, like, you can build a team around him because everybody's going to get open shots. I have never seen anything like it. And I think that's why we're all so lucky as Warriors fans. It's like, we are witnessing something that is one of the most unique phenomenons in the history of sports. And like, I truly mean that. Like, Steph is so good at shooting. I struggle to compare other skills in any sport to that. Like, it feels like there's no one specific skill. It's Barry Bonds, or it's like, Tiger Woods in the mid 2000s. Like, and there was no one specific skill with Tiger. He was just so good at what he did. But like, it is that level of like, nobody's ever witnessed this. And I think that's like, in a way, that's kind of like the point to end on, right? Is like, he's still here. Like, he is still that fucking good. And we saw it in Game 7. We saw it Game 1 to start the Wolves series. Like, he's still that guy. And to end the season, obviously, too, the end of the regular season. But like, he's still him, essentially.
I'm going to go with the Barry analogy, which is Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
And my point for this is, it's a pretty simple one, which is, even when he was old and fat and 40 years old, pitchers were freaked out because if they threw a single mistake, he could still hurt them. And that is exactly who Steph Curry is. He can't beat you one-on-one consistently the way he could 10 years ago. That happens. But if you make a mistake and he's wide open, he's going to hit the shot every fucking time. He just is. And then he still has the ability to hit the mistakes too. Like the Olympics was a great example of that, where it's just kind of like, he hit shots that no one else could make. And it comes back to, I think, the point you're trying to make, which is, I don't know that basketball people, and maybe they're getting there, really understand the difference in terms of pure shooting being more important than every other skill on the floor. Because he was the first. Like, in some ways, he was the first player who could shoot the ball so well he could overcome the stereotype of, if we play physical on him, he's going to break down. It's like, it doesn't really matter, dude. He's going to hit a shot.
He's not the first. He's the only. There is no other guy.
In theory, someone's going to come along. But your point, now he's 101.
Yeah, but the Celtics, with what they do, they won the title last year. But at the same time, it was like kind of a weak playoff run. And like, they got lucky with injuries. And this year, when they started launching way more threes, they lost both of the first two games of the Knicks because they shot 20 straight threes. Like, nobody else can do it over the course of 7 games and win a series like that. like Steph can. And so one of my favorite follows on Twitter, my guy, Bobby Flavin, he always says the league learned the wrong lessons from the Warriors. The shooting obviously matters, but in the early dynasty years, it was the defense because you cannot replicate Steph. You can't do it. And that is why I still think they can win a championship because he's still that guy. Through it all, he's still that same guy.
Could we take this home? Maybe the Thunder were the only ones who learned the right lesson. They're like, we cannot replicate Steph and Clay. We can, in theory, replicate that defense. And they've come the closest I've seen to any team replicating the peak Warriors defense. Yep. It's built around a player who is not my favorite offensive player, but he's fucking talented. There's no way around that.
Yep.
And it's just kind of the same concept of we're going to build this versatile, grind you to death defense that can guard everyone. Because that's, to your point, that's a more replicable thing than ever trying to recreate what Steph Curry did.
What was the motivation behind the Caruso and Hartenstein moves? It wasn't offense. It was defense. And I talked about this, I think, maybe a week ago, very similar to the Iguodala and Bogut moves. Like, you need these versatile, smart enough offensive players who can knock down an open shot or hit a floater, but defensively, they're so smart and they're so in tune with everything that's going on that it switched everything for the Thunder. If they didn't make those acquisitions, they don't win the title this year. There's no chance. But both those guys, and especially Caruso, were so essential to their title run.
Yeah. And that's, in some ways, that's actually a great dovetail for like the Warriors right now, which is I don't need them to make flashy moves. I need them to make the right moves.
Yes.
The Thunder could have gone out and gotten a more talented player than Caruso or Hartenstein. I don't think they would have been the right moves for them. Like, I don't think they would have been better for getting I don't think they'd be better for getting Porzingis in Hartenstein's place.
Or even like Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson would have helped a lot, but like, you know, it doesn't mean that they would have won a title with Cam Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we'll leave it there. We'll be back tomorrow night. Mike Dunleavy speaks tomorrow. We could be on his ass. Ask some big questions.
Can't wait.
Thanks, everybody.